and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be wrapping up and giving some reviews on some of our book picks for the Historical Hellions. I don't know why this intro, I can't get through this intro. One of those intros had to be fine. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited to film today's video. Real quick, if you guys didn't know, I do have a book club called the Historical Hellions. I host it with Jess from Peace of Books, and our entire theme of this book club is to read historical romances published before the year 2000. We do live shows every single month. We always have fun guest hosts joining us, and we also have our Instagram where we post all of our upcoming book picks. Go on our Instagram and look at the books for the next 6 months if you want to join us. Since we are in like the halfway mark of this book club, I really wanted to kind of just have a video to do a wrap up of the books that we've read so far. We've read some really good ones. We've read some ones that I didn't love. It's kind of like a mix. We'll link all of the live shows down below if you want like a more in-depth discussion and just want to hear someone else talk but me. Just really wanted this to be like a clear, quick, concise video of me wrapping up all the books that we read for the first 6 months. So really quick, I know I said I wanted to make this video short and I'm not really doing that, but regardless, if you guys have joined us in any of these books or all of these books, thank you so much. That means the absolute world to me. Proud to me that I even have a book club, especially with Jessica, because Jessica was like the person who really made me want to start booktube, and the entire reason I started this channel was because I didn't have a lot of people in my life who read romance, and I wanted someone to talk to about the books I'm reading, and I feel like I have that, and it's wonderful, and I love this little corner of the internet. So thank you guys so much. Let's jump into the books. Our very first book pick was our January pick. This is Night Song by Beverly Jenkins. First of all, let us take a moment for this cover. We love this cover. He has a mustache. She's gorgeous. Just love. It was published in 1994, so it's definitely an older historical romance, and I believe this is the first book that Beverly Jenkins published. It was amazing. I gave it 5 stars. I love everything Beverly Jenkins writes. The book follows Kara, who is a school teacher, and Chase, who is a soldier. Met each other on several occasions, but he's coming through town temporarily, and it follows their romance. They're instantly attracted to each other. They have really great chemistry with one another. I really feel like they can't have a proper relationship because Kara is a school teacher in a very small conservative town, very judgmental town. A lot of people wouldn't approve of her dating the soldier, and then Chase obviously is a soldier who has no intention of staying in town and is supposed to leave. We aren't going to read this book though. There are a couple trigger warnings for racism, lynching, miscarriage. The very opening scene of this book, it is a very raw, difficult scene to read, so just know that going in. But I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I love the way Beverly Jenkins writes her romance, like the longing between the characters. I think she's so good at that. It was just beautifully crafted. I loved their love story. The steamy scenes were very steamy. There's this one scene in a tub that I was all into it. Hero is definitely like that alpha possessive hero, but really the star of the show for me was our heroine. She was so strong, so independent, so smart, and I absolutely adored her. So I will have to say, it's so funny that this was our first book pick because it was actually my favorite out of all the books we've picked so far. The next book was our February pick, and this is Love Only Once by Johanna Lindsey. This is the only book that I annotated for some reason, and I'm pretty sure I just annotated the steamy parts because that's the type of person I am. Book I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, which is surprising because I have really disliked some Johanna Lindsey books in the past, but this one was a major win for me. This is the first book in the Mallory Anderson series. The book follows Regina and Nicholas, and really they kind of come together with a huge misunderstanding. Nicholas actually kidnaps Regina because he mistakes her for his mistress. Mistress really annoys him and is trying to make him jealous, so he decides that in retaliation he's going to like kidnap her and keep her from going to this really luxurious ball that she wanted to go to. What he didn't realize was he actually took Regina, our heroine, and basically ruined her because she was trapped in his house and everyone knew that they were together alone without a chaperone. Nicholas is best friends with one of Regina's uncles, uncles. She has a bunch of uncles that are very protective of her and demand that Nicholas marry her because he essentially ruined her. They end up having this marriage of convenience. They're both kind of upset because it's not exactly what they wanted, so they have to learn how to navigate a relationship with one another. Loved our heroine. To me, she was like the absolute best part of this book. Very humorous, very kind, very strong, very independent. Loved her. What I also really liked was the family dynamic in this book, and I know it carries on to the rest of the series. If you are someone who liked the Bridgerton series and you really liked The Duke and I, then I think you would love this book. They have a lot of similarities. There's a marriage of convenience trope. Our hero is friends with our heroine's family dynamic, and the rest of the books follow the rest of the family. The hero in this book doesn't want to get married because he doesn't want to have heirs, which is very similar to Simon's situation. Like a lot of similarities, and I actually liked this one a little bit better. You guys know how I feel about The Duke and I. Love the Netflix series, but I didn't love the consent issues in this book. So to me, like, this was the better version in my humble opinion. I know that's like an unpopular opinion, but sorry. The thing that prevented me from giving this a 5 stars was our hero took a really long time, like a long time, to grovel and to like be okay with the relationship. He just didn't make the best choices. I don't want to do any spoilers. I feel like I've talked about this book enough, but that was the only thing that prevented me from giving it a 5 stars. I want this video to be really short and quick, but that's not how it's going to be, and I'm so sorry, but I did really like those 2 books. Now we're entering into our March pick, and this one unfortunately just wasn't a good one for me. This is Once and Always by Judith McNaught. I think I ended up giving it a 2 star. Really not one of my favorites. I don't think that Judith McNaught is an author that I vibe with. I've read quite a few of her books, at least like 5 or 6 of them, and I've really only liked one. Heroine Victoria lives in America with her father and her younger sister, but her father gets very ill and ends up dying. It is written in the will that she is supposed to stay with family in England. Off the gate, what's really weird about this book, and I know like during this time it was something that happened, but I just didn't enjoy reading about it. She ends up staying with our hero Jason, who is like kind of her cousin, like 3rd cousin, twice removed. Like, they're not direct cousins, but they're still kind of related, and it's very weird. Hero Jason really doesn't want anything to do with our heroine. He plans to just marry her off and get rid of her, but obviously they end up falling for each other. There really wasn't anything romantic about this book to me. One, because they mentioned like several times that they were cousins, so it was just, again, it was weird. 2, there was major consent issues. I wouldn't even call this dubious consent. To me, it was absolutely no consent, and on their wedding night there is a scene where I feel like the hero straight up rapes her, and it was very tough to read and anything romantic about it, and I feel like our hero also didn't do nearly enough groveling. He was just kind of a horrible person, if I'm being completely honest. The redeemable qualities to this book to me is the heroine was okay to read about. Some of the side characters were interesting, but really this just was not a good one. I was very sad because I know a lot of people recommended this book to me, and I just couldn't like see, I couldn't see the good qualities in it, unfortunately. Next one was Shanna by Kathleen E. Woodowis. This was our April pick. E. Woodowis is an OG historical romance author. She wrote some of the very first historical romances, so it was really important to kind of read one of her books to kind of know more about the genre. Unfortunately, this one didn't really work for me. I gave it 2 stars again. Shanna is put in a tough position. Her father expects her to marry, but she's really not interested in any of her peers and really just wants to like live her own life. So she concocts this plan that she is going to go to a prison and pick someone from death row and marry them so that when they die, she can just, you know, be by herself. King Ruick, I cannot pronounce this hero's name. I'm so sorry. She ends up picking our hero. They end up making a deal and getting married. She is under the impression that they're really not going to be married, but he ends up getting out of prison and has some relation to the peerage as well, and it follows their romance. This one I didn't like because the hero was an absolute jerk, just completely horrible and unlikable. And then this one I didn't like because our heroine was very unlikable, so conceited. She was so terrible to our hero. Like, I absolutely hated the way that she talked to him and treated him and just undermined him. She talked was very degrading. She definitely led our hero on several times in this book. Very hot and cold type of personality. Didn't enjoy reading about it. It was a very slow book. Like, this is quite a large book. It's 600 164 pages. Like, you really had to get through this book, and it just wasn't an enjoyable read for me. My book pick was Then Came You by Lisa Kleypas, and thankfully, I really like this one, which isn't surprising because it's a Lisa Kleypas. The book follows Lily, who's really the black sheep of her family. She's an outcast. She's very scandalous. Her younger sister is arranged to get married to an earl who doesn't have the best reputation. Her sister is also in love with someone else and wants to marry him, but he isn't the best match because the earl has a better title and more money, etc., etc. When Lily decides that she is going to come and help her sister and ruin the marriage so they don't have to get married. This is a true enemies to lovers romance. Our hero and a heroine constantly butt heads. Lily is this meddlesome heroine that is trying to ruin his engagement, and Alex wants nothing to do with her, but obviously they're insanely attracted to each other. Really liked the twist in this book. The plot itself was very interesting to me. I don't really want to say what it is because I don't want to do any spoilers. It has a lot of things in her past. She was sent away to Italy when her family disgraced her, and a lot of things happened there. And then our hero is pretty jaded as well because his ex-fiance passed away from like a horse accident. Hesitant to fall in love. They're both going through things, but I really liked this one. This one was very dramatic, kind of like a telenovela. Loved. Also the first book in the Gamblers of Craven series. Derek is mentioned quite a lot in this book. So yeah, I did really like this one. 5 stars. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Lisa Kleypas because I do have some other ones that are favorites, but this one was still really good. Our most recent pick was Untamed by Elizabeth Lau. It was a medieval romance, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This book was pretty different from the other historicals. 1, it was set in the medieval time period, and 2, the author's writing was very lyrical. I feel like there was a lot of metaphors in this book. The very first portion of this book kind of dragged. It took a while to get to the romance. It was very slow burn, but what really saved this book for me was like the last 100 pages. I just loved the ending so much. Heroine, Lady Margaret, her father is very ill and passing away. She's a woman she does need to marry so someone can inherit the land and the castle. Being betrothed to our hero Dominic, who comes from like a rival family. Their families definitely don't get along whatsoever. Lily is going to marry him because she feels like it's best for their people. So it is a very slow burn romance. The book also has kind of like a magical element to it. Our heroine is described as a witch, but like a good witch. All of the people in the town love her. She's like a walking angel. She's very in tune to like gardening and animals and healing. There is this prophecy and curse that whoever marries this type of witch will have a very prosperous land, but they will never bore an heir. So they'll never have a son unless the woman is truly in love. Obviously, during like the historical romance time, there really wasn't love matches. A lot of it was like arranged marriage situation. Her mother was definitely not in love with her father, so it's kind of like this curse that the women in her family are basically never going to have sons, never going to have heirs, and are obviously our hero in this time. The one thing that was the most important was to have heirs. So it follows that kind of magical element. I really liked the ending. To me, the ending, there's like this epic battle scene, and I just thought it was so freaking romantic. I loved it. I know some people didn't like the drama and the slow burn, but I don't know. I actually really did like this one. In a lot of metaphors, there is a point where our hero kind of traps our heroine in the room. She's kind of like prisoner in the room, so if that is like a trigger warning that would bother you, just know that going in. I still liked it though. I still liked it. So those are the first 6 books that we read for the Historical Hellions. If you guys would like to join us in our July pick, we're going to be reading Flowers from the Storm by Laura Kinsale. Look at this gorgeous cover. I'm excited to read this book. I've had it on my shelves for a really long time, and I know a lot of people love Laura Kinsale, so if you'd like to join us, this is July's book pick, and it will be on Jessica's channel. The live show will be on Jessica's channel. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I'm not wearing any makeup, so excuse that, but look at this cute face! Look at this cute face, honestly. We just took her to the groomers, and I didn't know they were gonna do these little bows. Look at her face! Look at your little face, you're so cute. You're so cute.